What's up? It's Dr. William James here, reporting to you guys live. It's been a minute, but have a topic that I want to address. I want to address this whole Jada Pinkett, Will Smith, Chris Rock situation. I've seen a lot online in the last, 24, 36 hours, and I feel it must be addressed because the stupidity in our society, it gets annoying. It needs to be done away with. And then just certain behaviors that are acceptable and that we're pushing in the Black community is just unacceptable. So, firstly, people say, oh, why do you care? Or I don't know why people care what's going on with Jada Pinkett and Will Smith and things of that nature. Okay, the reason it's important is because Jada Pinkett and Will Smith and all of the celebrities live in the public eye and they have influence. They have influence over your children. Okay? I'm a teacher. I see firsthand every day just how much influence all of these celebrities have. Now, it's a different discussion whether or not they should have that much influence over your child and what are the parents doing and things of that nature. That's a different discussion. Simple fact of the matter is, it's important because these people live in the public eye and they have influence. Who do they have influence over? The youth. Secondly, it's important because the kids see this and they see certain things because the discourse and the dialogue happens amongst adults who have influence over the kids. I'm going to say that again. The adults who have influence over the kids talk about these things around the children. And then their perspective is then pushed onto the child. So there are people who are around kids, even if the kids don't look up to, Jada Pinkett, Will Smith, Chris Rock, whoever, the people around the children are having dialogue and the kids see their perspective and that person might have influence on the kid. So if you see that person, there's an adult around a child and they're like, oh, Will Smith did the right thing. Smacking him was the right thing in that situation. The kid may look up to their aunt, uncle, mother, father, whoever the adult is around them. And then now they're going to pick up that perspective. So that's why these type of things are important. It's in the public eye. It's talked about. It has influence. It's going to influence the way the next generation moves and the way they think. That's why this stuff is important, okay? Now, so let's talk about a number of things, all right? Firstly, well, it'll be secondly now, but let's just get out of the way. Will Smith was wrong. And Will Smith was wrong for a number of reasons. But let's just go on and say that the act was cowardly. Now, the reason the act was cowardly, because would he have done that? Would he have smacked The Rock, Mike Tyson, 50 Cent, John Bones Jones, Anderson Silva, Floyd Mayweather, a number of people? Would he have smacked someone who he feels could physically whoop his ass or, beat him up? No. And I think we pretty much know that wouldn't have, took place had it been The Rock or someone like that. The Rock is 6'3", like 250, 245 of muscle. Will Smith is 6'2", 215, 220. He went up there. He smacked Chris Rock, who's 5'10", 145. Okay? So, just that on his face, it's a cowardly act. He would have had a lot more self-discipline and self-control had it been someone of a larger stature or just someone he respected. He really doesn't have the respect for Chris Rock. And a lot of it has to do with his stature and him giving off that energy is like, oh, you can slap me and, turn your back on me. I posted on my Facebook, even if it was a comedian like, rest in peace, Bernie Mac. Bernie Mac didn't give off the energy like, come slap me and you can get away with it. Several other comedians I don't think he would have tried that with. But now we have to raise the question of all of the variables. The type of the comedian, did the race of the comedian matter? Would he have done that if the comedian were to be a Jim Carrey or an Adam Sandler or a Seinfeld or whoever? Would he have done that to a white comedian? Would he have been bold enough to walk up there in the middle of their speech, in the middle of them, their monologue and talking to the audience and, hosting the show? Would he have been bold enough to go up there and smack the person? I doubt it. Furthermore, what does that prove? What if the comedian was a female? Now you can't go up there and smack the comedian, Will Smith. And do you think Jada Pinkett Smith would have went up there and smacked the comedian because she was so offended? Would she have went up there to protect herself by smacking the person? Okay? No. Now, let's get down to this whole protecting your wife and protecting your family thing. Let's say he was protecting his wife. Why does protecting your wife have to be synonymous with violence? Let's just say that he was doing that, and let's just say that they were both that offended. Why does it have to be synonymous with violence? He could have went up there. Let's say he still went up there in the moment. Let's say he didn't wait till it cut to commercial. He didn't wait till after the show to address it and talk to him man-to-man, one-on-one. Let's say he went up there to address it in the moment like he went up there. He could have still been protecting his wife by saying, yo, Chris, I know you're hosting the show, but, my wife didn't like that joke you just did. I'd appreciate it right now if you would stop what you're doing and give her a public apology. He still would be protecting his wife. And he would have did it with class. And we'll be talking about how he did it with class right now. And no one would say he's wrong. No one could say he's wrong for, stopping in a moment, trying to keep it classy, but recognizing that the show shouldn't go any further without that being corrected. Because she's uncomfortable and you want it corrected. I could respect that. Probably would wait, to cut to commercial or something like that, and then have the person pull them aside and say, you told your joke. I didn't appreciate that. My wife didn't appreciate that. When you go back out there, give her a public apology for me. Chris Rock is not a tough guy, clearly, and pretty sure it could have went that way, but you don't know unless you try. He went up there, he led with violence, he smacked him, and totally threw the energy off in the room, threw the show off, and it just wasn't a good look, all right? All they did was perpetuate black-on-black crime theory, which we know is not true. It's black-on-black crime, white-on-white crime, Asian-on-Asian crime, all types of crime. People commit crimes where they are. It's going to be predominantly of the same race. But that's all that they perpetuated by him being worth millions of dollars and going up there and responding in a violent manner. He's 53 years old. We have to learn to think before we act. Think before we act and control our emotions. All right? You don't have to go up there and be violent. People saying, I see a lot of women and some men talking about, you got to protect your queen and go up there when people talking crazy. It was a joke. It was a G.I. Jane joke. Yeah, she looks like the character from G.I. Jane. And I understand she's losing her hair. She has alopecia. Okay? Alopecia is an autoimmune disease when the body attacks your hair follicles and you lose hair. You can lose it everywhere. You can lose it your eyebrows, your head, all over your body. All right? But it's not a terminal disease. All right? It's not deadly. And people make fun of people make fun of Magic Johnson for years about his AIDS and, HIV. People made fun of him for years. People made fun of Michael Jackson. He had Villalago. People make fun of people with all types of diseases and deformities and all the time. Okay? you understand that these award shows, that is what happens to the whole audience. Everyone gets it. Okay? And if you don't want to be a part of any jokes, why not just speak to the host beforehand and say, like, just in case I'm in any of your jokes, I'm going to take it seriously. I'm going to take it personally. Please take this off the table. Like, I'm sure they could get in touch with the people. They could have gotten in touch with Chris Rock. If that were the case, where you were going to take it that seriously, why not just let it be known? This is what happens. It's like going to a comedy show and not knowing that you could possibly end up in the joke, especially if you're sitting in the first 3 rows. Okay? The celebrities get roasted. That's a part of it. All right? It wasn't like it was a joke for this malicious attack trying to anger Will Smith or Jada Pinkett Smith. All right? If Chris Rock's joke would have been, oh, August Alsina hit it and I'm trying to march up in it next, or something like that, then I could sort of understand it. Like, all right, that went too far. That's a vulgar joke. You took it too far. Like, you really disrespecting me. You disrespecting me and my wife now. You talking about running up in her. All right, that's crazy. I'ma slap you. But the G.I. Jane joke, that wasn't that serious. He even laughed at it first. He saw her reaction. Then he went up there to do that. Completely uncalled for, unnecessary. And if you think otherwise, you're wrong. You're simply wrong. To add on again, furthermore, you have to think about intentions. Where was Chris Rock intending to be, hateful and messy? I don't even think Chris Rock knew about Jada's alopecia. And I'm hearing that he didn't even write the joke. It's I think well known that not all comedians write their own jokes. Some of the greatest comedians in the game have had other people write their jokes, but it's up to the comedian to deliver the joke in a funny way. So he told the joke, and I don't even think he wrote the joke, but we need to learn to have conversations for clarity. Will Smith could have pulled Chris Rock to the side and said, I don't know if you know this, but do you know about my wife's condition? And you could have found out. Then, maybe based off of him knowing, you handle things a certain way, because then I can understand maybe you have more anger knowing that the person knew such a thing and still decided to make the joke. You might, feel a little bit, angered because they're not being a little bit more empathetic. But again, you know Chris Rock and you worked with him before. You've known him over 30 years. You guys have done things together. So I think we need to learn to have conversations and work situations out without violence. Okay? Especially within our community, we need to learn to work things out without violence. The same self-control that Will Smith would have had there been Mike Tyson up there telling those jokes, especially a prime Mike Tyson, even 55, 54-year-old Mike Tyson, I think Will Smith knows not to slap him. But the same self-control you would have in that situation, he should have had with Chris Rock. And that's even more the reason why he's wrong. What he did was very cowardly and just unacceptable. So the reason for that is due to the toxic relationship, the toxic marriage that Will Smith and Jada Pinkett Smith have. Their marriage is toxic. She has emasculated Will Smith to the point where he does things like we saw, with him slapping Chris Rock. He doesn't know what to do, so he tries to find ways to prove his masculinity, and he looks stupid. She goes on her Red Table talk show, and she talks about her entanglement She talks about how she feels Will would just know what to do, or you expect a partner to just know what to do because if they love you, they would just know what to do, how to please you. She does a whole bunch of things to embarrass him and bring their personal life into the forefront, into the public eye. And it's embarrassing and it's emasculating. Okay? And it's clear for the world to see. So, when you think of a queen and your wife, a wife and a queen should be conducting themselves in a respectable manner that deserves respect. Now, like I said, there would be a way for Chris Rock to cross the line, but the G.I. Jane joke didn't cross the line. But at the same time, Jada Pinkett Smith isn't exactly carrying herself in the best light as a wife. It almost sounds silly when Will Smith was saying, "Keep my wife's name out your mouth," knowing all that's going on. Now, there's been rumor that they have an open marriage. I have no proof that they have an open marriage. Never seen that. And they didn't say that. So let's address people saying that they have an open marriage. I watched the Red Table talk show that Will Smith was on, talking about the entanglement. They said that when Jada Pinkett Smith was with August Alsina, they were separated.
But you and I decided we were going to take our space, and what happened?
Yeah, and then I got into an entanglement with August. That's what I said.
An entanglement?
Yes. Yes.
A relationship?
Yes, it was a relationship, absolutely. I was in a lot of pain, and I was very broken. Now, in the process of that relationship, I definitely realized that you can't find happiness outside of yourself. Mm-hmm. And luckily enough, you and I were also going through a process of healing in a much different manner. Mm-hmm. I would definitely say we did everything that we could to get away from each other, only to realize that that wasn't possible.
That's not an open marriage. If the marriage was open and they had a polyamorous relationship, then they would be sleeping around with other people while they're together and not separated. Okay? Also, if you guys have an open marriage, why do you need a red table? Why was there a red table discussion? To discuss what? If you have the understanding that we didn't cheat on each other and that we have an open marriage, why do you need the public to understand that if you understand that? Secondly, with this, when they were on a red carpet not too long ago, I forget the name of the transgender woman who was talking to them, but she said something along the lines of, "I can't wait to see you guys, this year get into more entanglements." And Jada Pinkett Smith said, "Oh, there'll be no more of those."
Thank you for all the years of joy you've brought us. Thank you. We can't wait for more Red Table talk and more entanglements and no more entanglements. No more entanglements.
If you guys are in an open marriage, then you'll be messing with other people consistently, or is that now off the table? The marriage is closed now. So they said a number of things on the Red Table talk show. They said bad marriage for life, which I don't know why that would be funny.
We ride together.
We die together.
Bad marriage for life.
What else did they say? Oh, just on the show, on the Red Table show, you can see that Will Smith is clearly hurt. Okay? He said, "I don't want to go through this again," talking about the whole situation. He was clearly hurt. Okay?
And you really can't know that
Until you go
through some stuff, I don't want to go through this no more.
Yeah, no, I don't either.
Yeah. I'm going to get you back first, and then...
You're going to get me back. I think you got me back. I think we're good on that, okay?
Okay.
Jada Pinkett Smith was walking red carpets with August Alsina. And it just shows a big double standard, because she's abusing Will Smith mentally, She's in his head. She's walking all over him, emasculating him. And if the situations were reversed, if Jada Pinkett Smith were Will Smith and Will Smith were Jada Pinkett, people would have a lot more to say. Okay? If Will Smith got into an entanglement with a 25-year-old female who was the friend of Willow Smith, paraded the person around, and then went on a talk show, or their roundtable show, and talked about it, and then he brought Jada on the show to talk about it, everybody would talk about how he's a narcissist, he's a control freak, he's a womanizer, he's all of these things, and he has no respect for his wife. But you don't really see the same energy from a lot of women. And a lot of women are so toxic that they're now applauding what Will Smith did in slapping Chris Rock. And these are the people who have nothing negative to say about Jada Pinkett Smith and all the terrible things that she does to emasculate Will Smith and embarrass her husband. Okay? So, like I'm saying, when you talk about coming to the defense of someone and protecting your family, protecting your woman, she was not in harm's way. Okay? Like I said, that was a minor joke. If she took it that seriously, okay, she took it seriously. He could have addressed that, and you protect your wife by, like I said, it could have been verbal. He could have went up there and said something. You automatically in the wrong for slapping that man. A man that you've known for 30 plus years. He was on the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. In the apology, he addressed him on a first name basis. It's like, what are we doing here? Is that really what we're going to do? That was some nigger shit that was very niggerish, and it was uncalled for. Completely out of line. And then I see some people saying, oh, the G.I. Jane joke, oh, could have had something to do with, oh, the character sleeping with a younger man too and cheating on her husband. If I've never seen the G.I. Jane, but if it had all that attached to it, then it's just a funny joke. It's just a lot of parallels and similarities, which make it even more funny to me. But, you know, not worth a slap. And I saw people saying that Chris Rock has been saying stuff about Jada Pinkett Smith for years now, and they went back to the 2016 Oscars. If they were both, if Jada Pinkett and Will Smith had that in mind, and they were offended about what he said in 2016, then they should have addressed it since then. Okay? Will Smith should have pulled that man to the side privately and said, you know what? When you said this about my wife in the Oscars, I don't really like that. Can you keep your jokes or mentioning my wife's name, you know, can you keep that to yourself? Can you not do that anymore? I didn't like that. You know, we have to get to a place where we can pull people to the side and have a discussion. All right? Every disagreement doesn't need to be violent. Every disagreement doesn't need to be, you know, we lose our emotional intelligence and we lose our emotional constancy. All right, we got to learn to communicate and be level-headed and be objective and make sense. Okay? So, there was nothing to applaud about what Will Smith did. Okay? He's simply in the wrong. If he wanted to, he could have waited till, you know, he could have waited to get the results to see if he won his Oscar. And then during his Oscar speech, he could have addressed, you know, what Chris Rock did. And he could have spoke about alopecia and how people could be offended and how, you know, you can't expect celebrities to just be, you know, computers and just have no emotions. And he could have spoke about how, you know, they're real human beings and how they get offended too and how sometimes it's just not their night for jokes. He could have said all of that. going up there and slapping that man who was defenseless with his arms behind his back, not suspecting that you're going to slap him in the face on international television, was ridiculous. And then just where does it stop? Are you going to fight every single man who has something to say? Because this was in a professional environment. This is at the Oscars. Everybody's wearing suits and ties and dresses. Professional event, bunch of multimillionaires in there. No one's expecting for it to go down like that. If you're walking down the street and you're with Jada Pinkett and some random guy says, oh, you know, your wife's bullheaded, whatever, I want to smash it next. Are you going to take action physically with every man who does that? You know, Chris Rock is wealthy as well, multi-millions, but someone else will just, you know, anger you and then get a bag from you. And it's pretty hypocritical to see a lot of adults supporting the actions when you tell your children, you know, if someone says something, you know, sticks and stones will break your bones, words won't hurt you, all this stuff. And I'm an educator. We don't expect kids to react, you know, off of words, and we try to teach them to, you know, use your brain and think and tell someone else to handle the situation and communicate and work it out, talk it out. But then the first thing that a grown man does at age 53 is he gets up when he hears something that's offensive to him and he slaps the person. And again, we all know that he would have been much more thoughtful had that been The Rock or Mike Tyson or someone like that. So people have self-control. They just choose who to use it with. And that's wrong. So I just wanted to address this. I think I pretty much covered it all. Y'all let me know what y'all think. More power to Chris Rock. Will Smith, I hope he gets the help that he needs. I really wish he would get away from Jada because she's toxic for him, and it's clear. His family, Will Smith's family, they were watching the Oscars in support of him, and his mom even said that she never saw him like that. 53 years, she's never seen him like that. So
Surprised.
He is a very even people person, and that's the first time I've ever seen him go off. The first time in his lifetime.
It surprised you too, huh?
It did. It did. As I said, I've never seen him do that.
you know, it's a sad situation. When you're placed around people, even if you love them, sometimes the people you love can be bad for you, and they can be the worst for you and change you into something you're not, and you're not meant to be. So like, comment, subscribe, share the video. Let me know what y'all think.
That's terrible.
It's the truth.
It's the truth.
But yeah, it's just part of the journey.
I told you the first year we were married
What'd you tell me?
that I can love you through anything.
And I didn't believe you.
Yeah.
If somebody looked through a crystal ball and said, this, and this is going to happen, I'd be like, no way.
Yeah. You thought I was that I didn't have the girth that it